Assalamu alaikum. अच्छा जी, सो सेशन हम स्टार्ट करते हैं. वी हैव अ गेस्ट, उनका नाम है नियो, बेसिकली फ्रॉम चाइना, और फिर बाद में हांगकांग और मलेशिया मूव हो गए थे. इस सेशन को करने का मकसद ये है कि कैसे एक 31 years old 1 million का एसेट क्रिएट करता है और उसको फ्लिप करता है, उसका थॉट प्रोसेस क्या है. प्रोडक्ट सिलेक्शन कैसे करनी है, मार्केट एक्सपेंशन कैसे करनी है. सो लेट्स स्टार्ट द सेशन. हम लास्ट सेशन के लास्ट 15 मिनट्स में क्वेश्चन आंसर सेशन कर लेंगे. सो
Hey, Fahad.
hey Neo, my man, how are you?
Good. How are you, man?
I'm good. What time is it? your end?
It's 8 p.m.
8 p.m. All right. So you're
Yeah.
done with your dinner, right?
Yeah.
All right. So nice. Okay. So we have Neo here, guys. He recently sold his Amazon FBA business for over 1 million USD. So it's a great opportunity for you guys to know the mindset, how to go about the Amazon business and all these things. So Neo, over to you. So can you give us a brief detail? So what's your background and, like your degree and stuff like that?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Background. Yeah, I actually studied finance in college, and then right after that, I never worked in the banking industry, like finance industry. I started to work like online business. Set up my first business 2013. I was doing a bit of like a video, YouTube stuff. Yeah, basically that's my start. And then after that, I worked with Alibaba for a few years before I started to sell on Amazon. Started in 2017, end of 2017. Yeah, but I was still doing drop shipping. I was still doing Shopify business. Yeah, but I really started getting into it in 2018. What I realized was just like, it's just so much easier to sell on Amazon. You don't have to buy traffic on Facebook. You don't have to rely on outside traffic. Yeah, Amazon has the traffic. The traffic is warm. They're ready to convert as long as you're giving them the right product. Yeah, coming from like drop shipping, you just realize, man, Amazon it's so much better than Shopify. It's much faster to scale. and it's you don't have to worry about the logistics side of things. Right? Amazon takes care of everything for you. You just have to worry about figure out a good product to sell. I think that's the most important thing for you to figure out as an Amazon seller.
Mhm. All right. So while you were thinking of starting the Amazon business, what was in your mind? Like, you just wanted to create a passive income for yourself, or you knew that it has the potential to make you a fortune, basically.
Yeah. So when I first started, um, I mean, as I told you, I kind of started in end of 2017 because everyone was selling Amazon in Shenzhen, in this part of the world. A couple of my friends, they were like, yeah, they're doing pretty well on it. They were doing pretty well on it. So I sourced a batch of, I think they were like backpacks, low quality backpacks. It's a Me Too product. There's someone else is selling the product, and then I was like, okay, this seems to be pretty good. Then I sent it up to Amazon. I think it was November. Yeah, it was like mid of November when I first started to sell it. Then I realized there were just organic sales coming in every day. There was like, once I have like 2 or 3 reviews, I was selling like five. And then as get into December, I started to sell like 10, 15 bags per day without doing fancy stuff. I was just doing like Amazon PPC, didn't drive any outside traffic, didn't do anything else. It was just selling. Of course, I was out of inventory within like a month, and then the review was pretty horrible because the product quality is not good. Right after I gave like 5-10 units to my friends. I had like 5-star reviews, but once the real customers review came in, the review just started to decrease. I think it was like at one point it got to like 3.8, so I don't even have 4-star. And then the conversion rates started to go down. So by January, February, the products it's like it's not good anymore. It's a bad listing, a bad product.
Mhm.
But the thing just made me realize it's like, oh my god, it's so much easier to sell Amazon. If I can come out with a better product with good quality, I should be able to go far. And then the Shopify business started to die down in 2017 because it was drop shipping. Everyone was selling on Shopify. It was the entry barrier is much lower. Not so easy to make money on Shopify anymore. Then I started to be more focused on Amazon. Um, yeah, so my initial target was just to um, yeah, I didn't expect to make a lot of money. I was like, okay, if it generates like 10K profits for me per month is very good already. Because with my Shopify business, if you figure out a good product, you can scale it up to like 1 month. You can scale it up to 200,000, 300,000 with one product easily. With the right kind of Facebook ads, all those things. Um, but with Amazon, I did not know how fast it can go. But I just realized it's much easier business model. I don't have to worry about logistic. I don't have to worry about Facebook ads, all those things. Yeah, but it
So
was.
what were the challenges you faced, like when you thought that, okay, so it's a good business and I should really consider this a business now
I mean,
as a career?
challenges. I think first was um, you know really change your mindset from um, job shipping mindset, right? So I was doing Shopify. Everything was about Facebook ads. You were trying to figure out all the trendy product, all those things. You have to change my mind. I had to change my mindset from like a Facebook marketing mindset to really become a product manager, to get to know the product really well, the supplier, the manufacturer process, and then kind of become like product experts, and then really spend a lot of time to read. To understand Amazon market, right? So basically, you see what your competitors are doing, what kind of products they're selling, what are the customer reviews, the pros and cons, and then you take all those, you suck in all those information, and you take the customer feedback, you provide to the manufacturer, you figure out a better idea. So that's the first thing. The second thing, I think, once you start to scale your business, once you realize, oh shit, this thing sells very well, you're suddenly selling 50 units per day. You realize you have to spend a lot of money to buy more inventory. Very soon I realized I had probably 50,000 in on the road to the US, and then 50,000 that's parked with the manufacturer. They're still in production. Then they have 20,000 or 30,000 inventory in the warehouse. You just start to realize, oh my God, there's a lot of money on the road.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's so in order to scale your business big, like fast, Amazon, it requires quite a bit of the cash. The good thing was, with my Shopify business, I built up a bit of a capital reserve, so I was able to grow very fast. So in 2000, but by the end of 2018, I was already doing, I think in December, I did like 300,000 USD revenue. It was very good, with close to like 30% profit margin. Very happy about it. But when I look back, I think the one thing I had was, I had a bit of capital built up. So when I needed to order more inventory, I could just order a lot more. It's to build up for Q4.
All right. So finding a product, how easy that task for you? Like, since you knew, you worked on Alibaba yourself as well, and you had a bit of experience of dropshipping. Product selection, how important is that? Did you consider, the numbers from the tools, or you just had, product in your mind and you just started selling it?
Yeah, so when I first started, I used Jungle Scott. I even watched the tutorial produced by Jungle Scott, the $1 Million Case Study. I think a lot of us, when we first started, we also a lot of us watched their, the setup tutorial. I used their tool to figure out, profitable product, like niches that without a lot of competition, but with good profit margin. I think I launched 2 products that way. It was okay product. They were selling, but they were not very profitable. They were just selling 5 units, 10 units per day. Then I found my first success product. It was more via a supplier relationship. And then I went to their factory. They was like, oh, we have this whole set of products. Very good quality. And then I checked the marketplace, Amazon, and realized, what, I can come out with a better combination. So it's a combination of product. There people are selling it. Then I realized I can come out with a better set of products and offer at a more competitive price, while I can still keep a good profit margin. So that's how I came out with the first, success. But for now, what I realize is what I rely on is more on my intuition, or like general, common sense. So me as a customer, if I go into a shopping mall, looking at all those products, why would I buy this one over the other one? So, it's really important to ask yourself this question before you start to sell. You as a customer, before you make a purchasing decision, what are the factors you will consider, right? So those are the things I ask myself. I rely on more on general common sense, but of course I don't sell. I don't get into like those very competitive niche like electronics. I avoid it. I just try to sell in categories or niches where I have a bit more experience. Like what one of the brand I sold was the travel products. So I travel a lot personally. I use a lot of backpacks, toiletry bag, stuff to hold my items when I travel. So I know what are the customer pain points. I use that as as advice or feedback I provide to the manufacturer, and then to design something for me to sell on Amazon. Yeah, so just to summarize, when I started, I used two, but right now I use more based on common sense. I have a checklist. I cross out all those lists before I decide on a product idea.
All right. So, what about the variations? I know you added so many variations to your one product.
Mhm. Mhm.
What was the reason behind that? Initially, did you plan to like launch all of the variations, or you started with one
Uh,
size or one color, and
yeah,
then just to
yeah,
increase the conversion, you added more variations to your business?
yeah. So I guess the one you're talking about is the shaker business. Yeah. Um, the reason why it's more of a color combination, right? So when I realized, oh my god, it sells very well, the silver color, let's try a few different colors. Maybe customer they'll like a different color combination. So instead of buying the silver one, they'll buy a black one or gold one.
Mhm.
And then first thing is for offer more choice for customer. The second thing is when you build all those variation in one listing, you accumulate reviews a lot faster, because each product they gather review, and then you have like 6 product under one listing. All those reviews will be combined together, and then when customers search, they'll just say, okay, this listing has a lot more reviews.
Mhm.
It gives customer trust and confidence to buy from you.
All right. And you started the business from the U.S. market, right?
Yeah, I started in the US, and then
And which year?
it's,
It was late 2017, right?
yeah, 2017.
All right. So when did you plan to basically expand to other markets? In the second step, did you go to Europe or Canada?
In the UK, if you
So uh, can you hear me? I guess we have some issue with the noise. Let me invite him again. Okay. Neo is here again. Let me add him. Hey, Neo.
You there, Fahad?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Hey, Fahad.
Can you hear me? I can hear
Yes.
you.
Can you hear
All
me?
right. So yeah, I can.
Good. All right. Yeah, it's there's some thunderstorm going on outside that may be
Yeah.
impacting the
All
signal.
right.
Um,
So
what I was just saying.
so we are talking about the market expansion from United
Oh yeah,
States.
yeah. So I first started in the U.S., and then second marketplace was the UK.
Hmm.
It's very similar. Like if something sells well in the US, Um, very likely, because they're both English speaking country, similar way of living. You can just start to sell in the UK. Then what I realized, my items were selling even better in the UK, in Europe.
Okay.
So combined with 5 marketplaces, I was selling more than the US. Canada was, I think it was till I only started to sell in Canada probably end of 2018. And then I started to sell in Australia early 2019. Um, yeah.
So, how did you find the Canadian market and the Australian market? Were those up to your expectation? I know you were selling pretty well there, but like initially, whenever we look into the markets, we don't find good numbers. So, what's your advice to people who are considering, expanding to Canada or even Australia or
Yeah,
France, Spain,
just
please?
send. Yeah, so for Europe, you should definitely use Pan EU, right? The Pan
Mhm.
EU fulfillment network. You sell to all the countries. Um, for Canada and Australia, when I first started, I just sending like 50 units or 100 units of one product. Then I realized,
On a monthly basis.
hmm?
That's 50 units a month.
No, I just, like, when I first started, I did not know how big the market was. I just sent, as a test, I just sent 50 units or 100 units there. And then I realized I could charge a lot more in those marketplaces because there were not as much competition going on. So if I were to have like 30% profit margin, I would charge 40% to 50% profit margin in those marketplaces in Australia or Canada. The volume was lower, but this year in Canada, the volume was, I think it increased by probably like 100 to 200% because of the COVID-19. A lot more people buying in Canada.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
so you cannot expect very big volume in those two marketplaces, but you can expect very good profit margin. So every item you sell, you can get 40 to 50% profit margin. Um, yeah, so with
And
these two marketplaces, definitely worth it.
yeah, and what was the ranking strategy for these two markets, Australia and Canada? Did you just rely on the PPC? I guess we have lost the connection again. Okay. Uh, ओके आवाज नहीं आ रही सो हम नियो से कहते हैं कि दोबारा ज्वाइन करें काइंडली Hey Neo, can you hear me?
You there, Fahad?
Yeah, can you hear me?
All right, we're back. Yeah,
Okay,
so
yeah.
just to
So
continue
regarding
on
your
the topic, the
launch,
ranking.
yeah,
Yeah,
the launch
so
the Indian
I,
and Australian. Yeah.
because I'm using the same ASIN, right?
Mhm.
The same product, the same ASIN. So whatever reviews I have in all the other marketplaces, that will be automatically showing in Canada or Australia. So I had like, back then I had like 300 reviews already, and when I first launched the product in Canada or Australia, you will see there's 300 reviews, even though there's no local reviews, but you can still
Yeah.
see there's like, over 300, probably like 200 English reviews. There's some like German or French reviews. You already see a lot of reviews, so I don't have to really worry about getting more reviews. Yeah, I was just spending money on PPC. Um, yeah, like in the case of Canada, Australia, both of my products ranked to the number one in the subcategory within a month.
All right.
Yeah,
So
because
becoming
there was no
successful.
competition. Yeah.
Hmm. All right. So, so by the time you launch in both these countries, and for your help, you had COVID, and the COVID really helped a lot of
Mm.
sellers to increase their sales. So, what was the revenues? I mean, I know in the United States you had good revenue. So, in Canada, in Australia, what's the maximum revenue did you hit?
Canada, I think in Q4 last year, like December, I think I did like 100,000 Canadian dollar, if I remember correctly. In Australia, the highest month revenue I did was around 20,000 plus
Hmm.
Australian dollar. I know some sellers. As a friend of mine who's selling Bluetooth earphone, he does 500,000 Australian dollar. His category number one, he does like 500,000 Australian dollar.
Hmm.
It's not like it's a decent marketplace.
Hmm.
If you sell like products with more demand, you can do a lot higher. You can do like 100,000, 200,000. But I think my niche is smaller. But it's I was doing 20,000 with 50% profit margin. I was doing like 10,000 Australian dollar profits. Um, that's still very good.
So, your advice to these existing sellers that something which is selling good in UK or US and it is stable,
Mm.
they should definitely go into Canadian market and the Australian market. All right.
Yeah, absolutely. It's you have the product, you have the review. It's a no-brainer. Just expand to those marketplaces.
Hmm.
Very good profit margin. At least you'll be able to make 20% or 30% more profit for your business.
Hmm. All right. So, regarding the flip, so I know you flipped for over 1 million USD.
Mhm.
Um, So what came into your mind? Like when did you actually plan to flip the business? What was the mindset behind that?
Yeah, I did not know I could sell the business until end of 2000 until end of 2018, and then I went on a trip to the US beginning of 2019. There was a seller conference in LA. I went there and met a few US based sellers. Some of them they managed to sell their business. Um, then I really got into it because they invited someone from, I think it was the company's called FBA Broker. It was a guy from there. They really introduced this whole business to us. Then I got to know about this thing. But selling my business was never part of the plan until uh, I think end of 2019, right? So like I think November or October 2019, I was like, okay, you know what? Um, Let me just list it up, right? Let me just put it up there, and then let's see how much my business is worth. I spent, I think, 2 weeks. Worked with a guy who's now is a friend of mine, from the brokerage, um,
Hmm.
to really do this accounting, then come up with all the numbers. Yeah, to do this spreadsheet. Um, then I put my listing up uh, December 2019. The mindset was just to really to see how much my business is worth. I did not plan to sell. Um, and then this year, COVID came. So I was in the travel business. I was in the home and kitchen business. And so my home and kitchen is doing very well. I think 200% and even 300% growth. The main issue I was facing was inventory shortage. Don't have enough product to sell. But my travel side of business, basically 90% decrease. So kind of like my increase just balanced with my decrease, and I think overall the business grew by maybe a little bit, 20%. Then with COVID, and then the deteriorating relationship between the U.S. and China, I was like, you know what, it just seems to be a lot of risk to me. I have a lot of money stuck in the warehouse in production, and then one of the buyer came, and the price just seems to be reasonable to me. For 2.5 years. It took me like 2.5 years to build this business, and the price seems to be reasonable. I want to cash out, some money to act as a buffer, right? So to really have some money in the pocket, have some safety margin. Then my mindset changed with all those circumstances change. I wanted to have some cash in build up, and then gives me more flexibility, right? So if I want to, right now I'm starting my second Amazon business, so I have more cash built up in the bank. If I want to grow fast, I can do it fast. If I want to do it slow, I can do it slow. So I don't have to worry about the ongoing issue between U.S. and China, because there's rumors saying they may be targeting some of the Chinese sellers if Donald Trump get reelected again. All those things in the back of your head. There are also horrible things happen to some of my friends. Their account gets suspended for no reason. It happened to my U.S. account. In March, my account got suspended. They asked for the U.S. EIN, so the U.S. tax ID. So it was obviously a mistake from the Amazon team, because I'm China-based business. Of course, I don't have U.S. tax ID. I have the China tax ID. My account was shut down for like a week before it got reinstated. So like all those things, you just want to cash out and then put a bit of money in the reserve.
All right. So a couple of last questions, and then we are going to move to the questions from the audience. How important is it to always, have multiple SKUs in the business? Because I see a lot of sellers who only consider, one product, and they just want to be, become a millionaire by selling just one product, which is probably, I mean, obviously, maybe 3, 4, 5 years back, that was probably, pretty easy, but now things are so competitive that it's difficult. So with multiple SKUs, what's your take on that?
I mean, I always expand in one niche, right? If one of my products sells well, I try to add, like within the same niche. Like if I'm selling, let's say if I'm selling kitchen stuff, if I'm selling a kitchen board, a cutting board, if it sells very well, I'll start to sell knife. I'll start to sell like frying pan. I'll start to sell kettle. So all those things related to cooking, I'll try to sell all of those things. Try to expand within the niche. You will build a brand. Whenever people think of buying a kitchen, like cooking products, they will think of you. It's easier, and if you have like 1 or 2 products selling very well, it's easier to launch other items under the same brand. And then to answer the first question, I think it's still possible to exit $1 million business with the 1 or 2 products. A couple of my friends, basically their 90% revenue is generated with the 1 SKU. Of course, they have like 5 other products, but they're only doing like 10%. but 90% is from. But they really, like, the ones are doing very well. At least like they have, like, 5 or 6 revenue generators. It's a diversification, right? It's a safer for a business. If one of the products doesn't start to go down, because all the product has a life cycle. If it start to decrease, you still have other engine, right? So you have 5 engine in your car. If 2
Yeah.
of them fail, you still have 3. Definitely try to sell other products in the same niche.
Yeah. All right. So, one last question. Regarding sourcing, since you've been part of Alibaba as well, many of us, like, we go to Alibaba and source our products from there. What's your take on that? I know that people who land in China, they get good prices. So what's your advice to to sellers who are sourcing from Alibaba, and any pro tips to get good prices?
Uh, I think, yeah. Even myself, I source on Alibaba. I use Alibaba. I check on all the different offerings. But it's a marketplace. You find agent, you find factory directly. I mean, in the case of my product, I work with one agent directly. Even though I could work with the factories, but because it's a set of products, I prefer to work with someone who's detail oriented, and who can be on the ground and then follow up with all the factories, save me time and energy. So I rather pay this extra 10% to the agent. Um, it's always do comparison, right? So if you sourcing one product, compare 3 or 4. Don't decide so fast, right? So you talk to one supplier, you think it's very good, but wait, let's give it a few more days. Talk to a few other suppliers. You may find better pricing or better people with better service. So I do not, because a lot of people say that, work with the factory directly. I'm not an advocate for that. In the case, if the agent can really save you time, energy, and then do the QC for you, work with the agent, right? Pay this extra 5% or 10%. It's fine. But for my travel product, I'll directly work with the factory, because they have, like, very professional sales team. They're a very big factory. They have, like, a proper corporate structure set up to do all those things. So in that case, I directly work with the factory. Tips to get better pricing. I mean, if you speak the language, definitely that's the best, right? If you speak Mandarin, if you speak Chinese, that's the best way to get the best price. But other than that, I think suppliers. I think if you use WeChat, it's a lot easier, because all the Chinese suppliers, they use WeChat. If you send email, they'd be like, you're probably a newbie in this business. Because I think all the experienced ones, all the people who have done business for many years with China, they have WeChat, right? So if you have WeChat, automatically they will think, okay, this guy knows China. But versus if you send an email to them, they'll be like, oh, he's probably new. And I think that's the first tip. The second tip, I think, be genuine, but at the same time, fake it until you make it, right? So you want sound like you're established business. You want to sound like you know what you're doing. If you do your homework, right? Before you talk to them, you make sure you understand the product, make sure that you understand the manufacturing process, the price well. So when you talk to them, talk with confidence, do your homework, and then, of course, fake it, right? So, like, tell them you're doing okay, but don't bluff too much, right? If you're only ordering 500 units, you see, it's my first test batch. I will order 2,000 or 3,000 more, which is true. If 500 goes well, you will need to order 3,000 or 5,000 more units. But don't tell them, yeah, I want to have 100 units. They'll be like, this guy is not serious. It probably is a one-time business. I'll just try to make some profit from these 100 units. But if they know you're in it for long term, they'll try to collaborate with you and offer you better price.
All right. Okay, so we are going to take questions from the audience. Okay. Hi,
How you
please
see?
suggest how you see Amazon Canada market. That's been answered already, but just a brief answer here.
Yeah, I think it's a good market. I answered it before. It's not as big as the US, but you have much higher profit margin. So in some cases, you can even make as much money as you are making in the US by selling less items, but higher profit margin. Definitely do it. And then, is it a good asset by PL? What does PL mean?
That's private
Profit.
label.
Privately, yeah, it's good. Yeah, try to sell in all the marketplaces.
All right. Then we have a new question from Fahad Arshad.
For new beginners, which market do you recommend in 2021? Australia, Europe? I would say, like my way of launching, I always launch in the US because it's the biggest, and then it's a very good market to test. To see if your product is a valid idea, and if it goes well, I launch to Europe, and then Canada, Australia, all the marketplace. But if you want to play it safe, I will say Canada is good. It's smaller, has less competition. Same as Australia, but you cannot expect higher. The sales volume will be a lot lower. For Europe, Germany is the biggest one, and then the competition is also a lot less in Germany because the language barrier. So yeah, Germany is good in Europe.
Okay.
How much monthly revenue, monthly profit when you flip the business? I think the average monthly revenue was 40 to 50, and the profit was 40,000 to 50,000, and then the monthly revenue was around. It was around. How much was I doing? 200,000, so 150,000 to 200,000. That was my average revenue. So the average multiples you're getting is based on your monthly profits. So let's say if you're doing let's say if you're doing 30K profit per month, and then the average multiples will be around 24 to 25 times. So 30,000 with 24, you will get price around 24. That's how much is this? 24 multiplied by 3, man. You'll get like 720,000, right? So you'll get like 30,000 times 24. That's how they do the valuation. So it's based on your monthly profits. Which category we should search for product now in Canada market? I cannot speak for all. Like I think Canada, home and kitchen is good. Like for this year, anything with indoor, right? So indoor fitness, indoor cooking, stuff we do at home. Right? Those are very good categories and niches to start because people have to stay at home for a longer time. But I think it's you have to do the homework. I cannot tell you specific product idea. Like always start with things you have a bit more experience, or even things you're more interested in. Canada market, how much budget required? My first batch products, I think, is slightly different. I said like 100 units to Canada market, probably worth 2,000, 3,000 USD. I would say, like, when you first start, you can start with, a few thousand USD, like 2,000, 3,000 USD. But as your business grow, you definitely need more capital, like 10,000, 20,000 USD. Yeah, to buy more inventory. How you decide which product to go for? So I have a like checklist, right? But the most important things I ask myself, right? So, like, what are the three things that set you apart from your competitor? Like, I list out like at least three things. Like, okay, this point one, I'm better in design. Point two, I'm better with value. Or like at least I come up with three things. I see, okay, this product is better than my competitor, and then this market is. This product is in demand, right? First thing is your market, place, your product is in demand. Second thing is I'm better than most of the available listings in the marketplace. Then, okay, then I go for it.
Okay.
1688, yeah, it's good. Most Chinese, they use, we use 1688 a lot. A lot of times you get better pricing for that on the 1688. But I think Alibaba, it's good because people who are listed on Alibaba, they're 100% focused on exporting business. So they have more experience. Yeah, you have the quantity. I think once you have the quantity, it does not matter if you source from 1688 or Alibaba.com.
Okay, a couple of more questions and then we end the session.
Best categories for the UK. Uh, I, I'm not like, I think it's similar to Canada. Like for this year, focus on like indoor kitchen, indoor things people do at home. Like home fitness is a very hot category. Yeah, those focus on the indoor stuff like toys you buy for babies. Those things are good as well. How much investment? I think it's the rule of thumb is applies to all the marketplaces. You can start with 2 or 3,000 USD, but you just have to have a bit more capital build up for more inventory if your products goes well. Market size, price range do you go for? So my strategy, I always try to go for the premium segment. So I always try to sell at least 30 USD. So a couple of my products are in the 70 to 90 USD. So I always try to go more than 50 US dollar. So it's different based on the items you're planning to sell. I know some friends, they're selling products less than 20 USD. They're making a lot of money. I know people who are doing 50 or $100 more product price, but they're doing well as well. So it depends on the product. If you buy a flip business, how much time rule of thumb? I am not an expert on that, but I think from my understanding, people buy flip business and then they try to improve the operation, and then they try to make the listings better, and then they resell it. I think depends on the team setup, maybe like 3 months, 6 months, and then they resell it for a higher price.
Yeah, so as long as you have either expanded the market or you have, probably increased the revenues, you keep on consolidating and then you sell it eventually. So one last question, Neo, for you, and then we close the session.
Mhm.
So how
How
long do you
long? What I mean, what does that mean?
probably how much do you invest or something like that? How much time do
How,
you invest? Like, yeah, how much
how much
time do you
time do you
invest?
invest in the assessment? I would say I spend 80% of my energy doing product research. Most people think it's boring, and then they don't like to do it. Like at one point when I first started it, I was like, man, I hate to do product research. It's something I hate to do. I want to outsource it. But I think that's the most important thing you do. You spend more time on product research. You try to understand the market, understand the product. And you at least you should be, you know, your understanding of the product should be better than 90% or 95% of the general population. Then you call yourself a product expert. Once you reach that level, and then you've configured a solid product, I think operation, that's probably 10%. Operation is super simple. Once you have your products, a solid product idea, you launch it. Even before you launch it, you kind of know, you're probably 80% or 90% sure it will do good. It will be better than, because it's such a solid product. Why you will buy from anyone else other than me? So spend as much time as possible on product research. Come up with a solid product idea. How easy is it to flip the asset? I think bank loans are difficult to get if you're online purchase. I think it depends on your product. Depends on your business. If you are in the, it's easier to sell a business in the same niche, right? You're focused on one brand, one niche. You're in the kitchen niche or you're in the office niche. You only have this category of products in the for office. And then you have a brand built up online on social media, and you have a Shopify business, Shopify store. All those things, it's easier to sell that type of business versus you have 10 different products in 10 different niches. Bank loans, I cannot comment on that. I did not use bank loan. Basically, it was just my my own capital reserve, and then I keep reinvest my profits in the business.
Okay, that's it for today. Thanks, Neo, for giving your time.
Okay, no worries.
That's helpful. And probably if I get back feedback, like if people want to, have more questions with you, probably we will have another session someday. Until
Okay.
next time. Thanks,
Hey,
Neo. Have a good day.
thanks, guys. Thanks
Bye.
for having. Bye.